People aren't stopping how much they need. They're fucking addicted. I've never seen anything like it before. And trust me when I say I've done this longer than and at a broader perspective than anybody else. I mean, I'm talking multiple generations. And the appetite today is nothing like it's ever been. There are, from what I was told by the PD, the PD has already recovered almost 500 this month.
Wow.
That's not good. That's just reckless. And to put things into perspective, like, you know, I think this month alone, in 5 weeks, I think it's hitting 6. I think we've pumped out 1,600 roughly.
Damn.
Yeah. And I will say that, you know, it's a lot of work. it's a lot of fucking work. And
I believe it.
I think the supply chains, with everything that's connected, I'm afraid they're going to break, right? I just don't. And so there's another issue too, where when I say people are reckless, I should also say greedy. Not everybody, but there's a sick amount of greed. There's like almost an expectation that the best equipment should be virtually just available. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
And the issue with that is, you know, let me put it this way. You know, let me just shoot straight. If you got one type of AR, right? And it's good, but there's something better than it. People want the better one. And then they want the one that's better than that. But the problem becomes that if everyone wants the best, the rest is useless, which is why there needs to be stepwise prices. Unfortunately, the way that those things have been set by the powers that be, there's not enough discrepancy in that. So in turn, the most powerful shit becomes readily available and almost expected, right? And so if people get used to just having so much of it and so readily available, what happens when things stop? And to give you some perspective, there's other things that are going to make their way onto the street. And as a consequence of this, those that arbitrate these things are likely going to want things to be doubled to tripled. These particular ARs. And I think people are going to get pissed, if I'm going to be honest.
Well,
yeah.
Supply and demand, right?
I don't think we were. You know what? I wish that
Eventually.
was the case. Eventually.
I think eventually it will be supply and demand. And when demand is high, prices are high. And I think people are just going to have to accept that.
I agree. I will say there are things in motion that hopefully will resolve some of this. But I think to a large degree, things do look like there is an intention of placating? Placating?
Something like that.
Yeah, something like that. You know, just quenching the thirst. But anyways. Yeah, so with things kind of being in flux, that's why I've not reapproached you on it. There's not really. I'm waiting for the direction, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, that's fine. No worries.
All right.
I'm patient. Imagine somebody in the city being patient.
I know, right? All right.
But
okay.
On a completely different topic, I talked to Sean Danielson last night about the Humane Labs business license and told him, I've talked to you, I've talked to Princess, I've talked to Dr. Perry, I've talked to Turner, I've talked to practically everybody in the city.
Yeah.
And he told me the justices are meeting at some point next storm.
Yes.
To discuss the legality of it.
That meeting is between the justices and the governor. And they also, I was approached to say, we're going to talk to the governor about whether we can do this voting thing. And I was kind of like, isn't this kind of like the opposite of intent here? Like, what is this? We're only going to talk to the governor shit. So I don't know. It's confusing because with no due respect, the majority of them are the worst communicators there are. So I am grossly concerned that we are not going to know what actually was said, right? I am concerned the governor says, bananas are yellow, and we get back, well, it kind of depends on the banana from them, right? And this is kind of the age-old concern where you never know if a judge or justice is speaking on behalf of the judiciary, their personal opinion, or being speculative, because they don't sort of disclaim their stances before stating it. They do not publish their stances. And to me, it's starting to sound like their impeachment hearing, which is what is today, is turning into them taking advantage of the situation. Now, I will say that I do believe the governor is rather sensible and may not entertain some of that conversation, right? It's a little odd. The justices are in because of the impeachment, but they couldn't do that before then. That's wild.
So for me, it's one, New Epsilon did recently receive the Epsilon building, which is kind of a similar situation, other than it's in the city rather than in Blaine County.
What the fuck? What do you mean they received the building?
Oh, no, the Epsilon building has a door now.
Really?
Yeah. It's in Eliza's name, from my understanding. I thought you would have been aware of that.
No.
Okay.
Interesting.
Which, from my point of view, I'm excited for them. I think that's amazing.
Yeah, no, I'm equally as excited. Just it piques my interest on other matters.
Okay. And two, between you, me, and, the powers that be that might be listening, even if the business license doesn't go through, all of that is squashed today, I'm still going to keep doing what I'm doing.
Yes.
I just won't have any government oversight into what I am doing, and I'll no longer have to be so forthcoming with my research and development.
Let's have a chat on the boat.
Okay. Do you want to do that after storm, or do you think we have time now?
We'll do it after storm. Yeah.
Okay.
We can keep it rather simple. And what I'm about to say is intentionally very vague because I don't know who is listening. There's been a lot of things that have been going on a lot of things that I can't openly discuss. And while you probably have been used to me speaking in cryptic code from time to time about certain matters, it's usually been a consequence of not wanting it, in the event someone is listening, they don't necessarily know what's being discussed, right?
Mm-hmm.
However, the things that have started to come across my purview, and not all of which is because I'm the mayor. There are Jaycn, if you need anything to do this research, let me know. But be very careful about who knows what you're doing. Because as I've been beginning to learn over the last couple days, it's not just the justices to be worried about.
Oh, I knew that already, but yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of I don't ever know who's listening.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, hell, that camera might be active for all we know.
Right.
Let me there's something I'm working on, and I think once it gets to the first stage, maybe then we'll have the conversation.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Sorry if that wasn't useful. It's
No.
Yeah.
No, you're good. I understand. Don't worry.
Okay. All right. Well, see you after Tsunami. I'll be at the
Yes.
meeting.
I will be around. Yes.